when I got the news when I realized that TikTok was possibly going away, I made a promise to myself that I would do away with all social media. And not just because of, TikTok going away, but I realized that I found myself scrolling mindlessly, or I found myself doom scrolling instead of sitting and dealing with feelings that might have been underlying for a little bit. Like, for example, if I was having a really hard day, or if I was exhausted, or even just mentally drained, instead of actually sitting and feeling what I needed to, really tapping into my body, maybe even just stretching or dancing it out, I would find myself sitting on my bed, cross-legged, or sitting on the couch, cross-legged, and just scrolling and consuming. And I would find myself in this cycle of being upset with myself because I wanted to be creating, and instead I was consuming. So I made a promise to myself, because I wasn't posting on Instagram. I wasn't really using it besides just finding quotes here and there. If I'm honest, I would find quotes that I liked, or I would just keep up with people on there. And I have no desire anymore to tap into other people's lives the way that social media gives you access to. And something that I also really feel like we don't realize with social media, we lose the importance of conversation. We lose the importance of getting to know each other, because it's all posted on social media. I literally had somebody who was trying to, who told me they were interested in me romantically. I had somebody tell me that. I asked them, well, why do you want to go out with me so bad? Like, why do you like me? Because we had barely conversated, and they were just so adamant about the fact, They were so adamant about the fact that they really liked me and that they couldn't stop thinking about me, all this stuff. And finally I said, well, I don't understand. What is it that you think is drawing you to me? Like, what is it that is just that has you in this spiral of like, I need to talk to you. I want to take you out. I want to get to know you. And the thing that they said really kind of set in motion what I am starting to do in 2025. And they said, I liked what I saw on social media. And that drove me up a wall. Not only is social media just killing our creativity, it's killing our individuality, it's killing our humanity, because we forget the true beauty and the essence of conversation, the art of getting to know somebody, the art of, those phone calls or those texts or those little first hugs or something. It's like we have the ability to just have access to people at our fingertips, and it's just not as important in my world anymore. Like, I see people online, and it's like you can fall in love with somebody online, and then you meet the person, and it's like, this is not what I expected. And it's because the person you met online is a persona, I even, like, who I am online is most likely who you're going to get in real life, but there are also so many parts of me that unless you truly get to know me, I'm not going to show you, because that's me. That's a part for me that I have to feel comfortable enough, that I have to feel safe enough in order to open up and express with you. And if I don't, you're not going to get that side of me. And it's like, yeah, you can look on my pictures on my Instagram and say like, wow, she's beautiful. Wow, she's really artsy, or she's really in touch with her femininity, or she's really in touch with spirituality. And that's fantastic. But we are so objectified. We just lose so much through social media. And you can sit here and say, well, Gabrielle, you're literally still creating content. You're literally still creating videos. I'm creating videos with the intention of not giving a single fuck. I am literally just posting, I'm rambling, I am doing things, I'm just speaking my mind. I am not here to achieve anything but just the simple fact of I enjoy doing this. I enjoy creating and expressing myself. And if this helps me break out of my shell little by little and start unmasking and just becoming the person I am meant to be and continue to put myself out there and chase my dreams, that's what I'm going to do. And it's not the fact that you can't consume content. You can't consume social media. Of course you can, but there is a healthy balance that there's a line that we have gone so far over in our culture. And I just really feel like it's so detrimental to who we are as humans that we just get back to the true beauty of existing. So that is what my plan is. In order to get back into myself, I have to just start existing. I just have to start being, instead of scrolling on my phone for hours and looking at the time and be like, holy crap, I started scrolling at 11 a.m. and now it's 7 p.m. I've done nothing with my day. And then going into this shame within my head, I'm going to put my phone down. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to take a walk. I'm going to go to a park. I'm going to read a book on a bench maybe. I don't care if it's cold, because the cold reminds me that I'm alive and I can feel this. It's like we get so in our heads and we forget that what we think creates how we feel. I literally was reading the book Don't Believe Everything You Think by Joseph Nguyen, I think his last name is. I'll have to look at the pronunciation, and if I mispronounced it, I deeply apologize. Un momento. Look at your eyes. Hello. As I was saying, I finished up the audiobook last night by Joseph Nguyen. Nguyen, I think his last name is Nguyen. Again, if I mispronounced it, I deeply apologize. But he really started, towards the end of the book, he really started speaking to me. And I began like writing things down as I was hearing it, because these are also things that I've heard through like Eckhart Tolle's teachings. And one of the things that he mentioned that I truly, truly loved, it was a scenario, and it was about a master and a scholar. And the scholar went to the master in order to, kind of learn more. But every time the master would talk, the scholar would interrupt and tell his own stories and just relate to what the master was talking about. And finally, the master just calmly suggested that they have tea. And so as the master set the cups up, he started pouring the scholar's tea. And as he kept pouring, he didn't stop. He kept pouring and pouring and pouring until the cup overflowed onto the table, onto the floor, and onto the scholar. And the scholar just screamed out like, stop, can't you see? Like, it's already full. The master smiled and said, exactly. You are like this cup, so full of ideas that nothing more will fit in. Come back to me with an empty cup. It is ironic how much can be written about nothing. That is what space is, nothing. He gives this example to talk about how if you want something new to be created, such as like new thoughts, you have to first create a space to receive new ideas. And one of the things I really love that he said, just like the teacup, if your mind is full of old thinking, it will be impossible for any new thoughts to come in to create the change you seek. The way you can create the space is through non-thinking. We cannot solve problems by using the same level of consciousness we were at when we created them. Absolutely loved that. And what I really feel like people don't understand about things like this is that everything outside of you it happens. People say shitty things, people do crappy things happen, events happen. And it's like, there's a quote that I really love, and it really makes me think. And a lot of people might, become defensive about it or say like, I don't think that's true or anything like that. But when you really take the time to think about it and you understand that your thoughts create your feelings, you will understand that it is truth. And the quote is, pain is inevitable. Pain will always happen. However, suffering is optional. You have the choice. The pain will be there. And I believe the quote, it goes on to say, for example, let's think about a runner. A runner can be running and they can think, oh my God, I'm in so much pain, like this hurts. Of course, if you exercise, if you run, there's going to be a point where your mind starts telling you, okay, I'm starting to get exhausted. I'm starting to feel pain. This is starting to hurt. When you're running, your lungs start hurting or anything else. However, that pain is inevitable. That pain was going to come no matter what. However, it is up to the runner to decide what to do next. If they listen to their thoughts and they say, yes, I'm so exhausted, I'm going to stop. Or if they keep going and say, you know what, I promised myself another 5 minutes. I can do another 5 minutes because I'm capable. It is all about your thoughts. The runner can choose to suffer and sit and be like, oh my God, my body's in so much pain. I can't do this. I'm running and it hurts. My legs hurt. My chest hurts. So many things. Or the runner can continue to say, this is what I've expected. This is what is expected when I'm running. 2 years ago, which is crazy to say, it was 2 years ago, I believe 2023, and I decided to go to the beach to start doing cold plunges. And this was when I had my old channel on TikTok before I had this current one. And one of the things that I really had to tell myself when I was doing these cold plunges is I would sit on the beach, you know, I would be in my clothes and I would just be in my head so much like, do I really want to do this? It's so cold. Oh my gosh. And the thing I really had to remind myself that I said, and one of my friends was like, I love the simplicity of that because it's so true. And we don't like realize that we just psych ourselves out with it. The water's going to be cold. No matter how much I think about it, no matter how much you go over in your head and you prepare yourself, you will never be prepared for the cold. However, it's going to be cold no matter what. Your thoughts can't change it. The cold is inevitable. It's winter and you're going into the ocean, Gabrielle. What do you expect besides cold water? It's like, I know I'm there for that specific reason. And yet I would sit on the beach for like 20 to 30 minutes talking to myself and being like, oh my God, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if I could do. I was there to do that. I was there. I knew what was going to happen. I knew what was to come. So what am I psyching myself out for? It's because I was so in my head and I was trying to prepare for what my body would experience. However, instead of just experiencing it, I would sit and make myself suffer thinking about the cold. And that is why I loved doing those cold plunges, because it really helped me understand, like, no matter what I do in my head, no matter how much I talk to myself, it's going to be cold. I'm going to get in, my feet are going to feel frozen, my feet are going to go numb, my body will go numb. I cannot change that. The only thing I can do is either go in or go home and stop wasting my time. And not that it would be a waste of time, but also like just realizing that no matter how much is going on up here, it's not going to change something out there. And that's where I was getting with, you know, social media. Being on social media when you're doom scrolling or when you're trying to avoid something or you just mindlessly scroll and then you realize it's hours later, you truly don't pay attention to yourself. And this is why I feel the mental health of our society in America and across the world is suffering, because we have forgot that we are humans. We have forgot that we need ourselves. We have forgot that we actually need to get off of our phones, get into our bodies, and actually pay attention to ourselves. No, instead we are dangled this carrot in front of our face of, you know, oh, well, you need to buy this in order to feel this way, or purchase this course and you'll be so much greater. And of course, there are certain things that you should do if you're paying attention to your dreams and, you know, you want to further what you actually want to do. Like right now, I'm in school. I could. However, right now, this is the course that I decided to take. And if I never took that first step, I would still be constantly thinking about what I should do or how I should do it, instead of just listening to my body and doing it. And when I tell you that you will start to flow so effortlessly when you actually take the time to slow down, pay attention to yourself, and just do the thing. Now, with that being said, this begs the next question. How do I listen to myself? How do I enter that state of flow? How do I truly tap into myself and listen to my intuition and what I should be doing? And in the book as well, Joseph talks about it. Took a lot of notes. So we're going to talk about it as well while my car warms up. He goes on to say, gives examples from Thomas Edison as well as Albert Einstein. Thomas Edison would fall asleep in a chair with 2 steel balls in his hand. When he fell into sleep, one of the balls would drop. And when he woke, a solution would come to him, because the solution that he needed would come to mind, because it came from a space of nothing. He wasn't exhausting himself trying to find a solution. He wasn't exhausting himself trying to think and continuously think and go into this constant cycle of thinking and not being able to come up with a solution. But when he stopped trying and he just let the space exist, it finally came. It came from the space of nothing. When Albert Einstein found himself troubled and couldn't think of a solution, he would start playing the violin, because he would just be so... it was like the universe was speaking through him, because once you do something where you just naturally flow, and it's just like, you know, whether it's drawing, whether it's coloring, whether it's dancing around your room, whatever you can just lose yourself in, and you just aren't in your head, but you are so engulfed in the beauty and the focus and the intensity of that project, that experience, that is when things will start to flow more effortlessly for you. So Thomas Edison would fall asleep with 2 balls in his hands, 2 steel balls. Albert Einstein, he would play the violin. He would just find himself playing the violin for hours, and finally it would come to him what he needed, because he entered that state where it's just the universe was able to flow freely through him and he wasn't forcing anything. When you stop forcing something, it's going to come. One of the things Joseph talked about that I really loved was how to create the space for you and how to actually get into the state of flow and kind of not stop the thinking, but become aware of it and recognize it, and then enter that state where something can flow through you effortlessly and the answer that you need comes to you. He says, step 1, become aware that your thinking is the root cause of all negative emotion. When you think about it. If you constantly think about a situation, let's say you start talking to somebody new and they randomly stop texting you. I literally had this situation the other day. This gentleman and I were talking and conversation was flowing so nicely. And then it was just like, all of a sudden it was ghost city. I didn't hear from him. Now I could sit there and say, well, was I talking too much? Or was it something I said? Or maybe just understand that it's what it is and I cannot force it. I cannot do anything about it, but just understand that it is what it is. I could have sat there and thought myself into a bad mood and thought it was a problem with me, or thought, oh my gosh, I did something wrong, or text him again and just be like needy and go back into this pattern of, this attachment where it's unhealthy. I just let it go. It's like, it happened. I had a great conversation and he didn't want to continue it. I accepted that. No response is a response. I don't have to think about anything else or create a story or a scenario as to why this is happening. I can just look at it, say, okay, this is happening, and accept it and move on without creating a narrative around it. When you start creating a narrative in your head, when you start creating a story in your head, that is where the feelings come from. That is where those feelings start to linger and all this stuff. And one of the things that Joseph also says that I absolutely freaking love was, your mind is the greatest salesman and knows exactly what to say to get you back into that vicious cycle of negative thinking. And it's so true, because you are just conditioned to think a certain way for your whole life. When you try to divert from that and get into this new pattern and get into this new space where you are trying to bring in new things, your mind's gonna be like, whoa. We're used to flipping out about stuff like this. What the hell do you think you're doing? And it's because your mind knows you the best. Your mind knows how to get you back to that space. So your mind's gonna say things that's gonna trigger you. And the thing is, you have to become very aware of yourself. You have to be with yourself. You have to pay attention to yourself. And then the second step he talks about is to create space by surrendering any manual thinking from your personal mind and have complete faith that your inner wisdom, God, universe, infinite intelligence will give you the answer. Also, surrender the how and when the answer will come to you. So don't go into it automatically thinking, okay, well, if I just let this go and I just, trust in the universe, I trust in the infinite intelligence, I trust in the God, the gods, whoever you have such faith in. If you set it in your mind, okay, once I do this, this will happen and I should have an answer, by tonight. That's not how it works. You can't set a timer. It will come to you when you truly are letting go, because when you set a how and when, you are still holding on to something regarding that. And you're holding on to this, well, if I try to think of a way, okay, maybe while I'm doing this, this will happen. Well, then while you're doing that, it's not going to happen. And then you're going to be frustrated. And then your mind, the salesman, is going to be like, hey, remember when you said to trust this? Well, this didn't happen. So now it's just going to be a cycle. Okay. And then the third step, become aware of any feelings that arise as you surrender and magnetize those feelings of love, peace, and joy. Beat what you're facing with love and the answer will come to you. The truth is always simple. Although it may be simple, it's not always easy. And even the greatest spiritual masters struggle at times. So when we look at things with love, when we come at something with love, even if it's a situation with a person, instead of trying to look at the situation and be like, how can I get my revenge? How can I get this? How can I do this? How can I one up this person? Instead of doing that, look at it with the purest form of love. How can I do this from love? How can I move with love? What can I do within me? Forget about who this person is. Forget about what the situation has created. Forget about everything. Focus on yourself. Because the more you think about the situation, the more your salesman is going to be like, yeah, and this is how you feel. Yeah, and this is how that makes me feel. Instead, think about, okay, that's true, but this is also true that I can move with love. So when you start to do that, things will start to flow naturally. And it's a practice. You have to practice. It's not going to happen within the day. It's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen, maybe even next week. But once you start to intentionally practice these things, it's going to start becoming easier. It's going to become a second nature to you. By the way, one point he really wanted to drive home, which I absolutely loved, is it's 100% human to think. Don't criticize, don't ridicule, don't shame yourself for thinking when you're trying to do this, because you are human. It's literally it's a part of our nature to think. It's a part of our nature to be in our mind sometimes. And you can't beat yourself up or shame, because then that just perpetuates the thinking. Once you catch yourself and you see that it's your thinking that's causing your suffering, that's all you need to do in order to bring yourself to a state of peace, happiness, and love again. The transition can happen painlessly and effortlessly if you let it. A lot of people don't understand you have a choice in all of this. Pain is inevitable. Suffering is optional. When you can sit there and think about your thoughts and be like, okay, well, this situation happened and I still feel this way. That's the truth. Nobody can take that truth from you. However, it's up to you if you want to still suffer. It's up to you if you still want to hold on to this instead of letting it go. Well, how do you heal from something? You start to focus on, while that's true, nobody will ever take that truth from you. Your feelings in that situation, nobody can ever take that from you. That will never be invalidated. And if somebody outside of you invalidates it, it's because they're projecting. That's on them. That will never have anything to do with you. It is your choice. It is your duty, your responsibility to yourself to show yourself love and to move on. It is your responsibility to grow. It is your responsibility to heal, because nobody can do it for you. Getting out of your head is the first step. One of the other things that he says a quote from Dalai Lama, which I really love. Do not let the behavior of others destroy your inner peace. You truly can't help what other people do or what other people say or how other people think. You can't control what they do or how they respond or react to you, but you can control how you respond to them reacting to you. It's truly all about you. This person will be who they are. That situation will happen as it's meant to unfold. However, you can be different. You don't have to be the same person who reacts. You don't have to be the same person who allows someone to get a rise out of you, because that's what a lot of people want. That's what a lot of situations are trying to, help you build from. And the last quote I'll leave you with before we head to Target, and I'm taking you guys with me, is there will come a time when you think everything is finished. That is the beginning. And that quote is from Louis L'Amour. Absolutely loved that, because really when you think, okay, I'm finally, over that situation, I'm finally, free from this feeling, this pain, it's the start of a new chapter. It's the start of a new state of feeling. And he talks about when you finish that book, it's the end of the book. However, this is a new beginning for you. You're coming out of this book with new information. You're coming out of this book with a new mindset or new practices to try. This is the beginning of something new. When something ends, it's actually just the beginning of something else, a new part of your journey. So did not go to Target. Ended up just going to my local farmer's market. I got this big ass crate and there was no room to sit inside, so I just decided to sit in my car and eat it because I want a snack. And I also got an Olipop. This is self-care. This is self-love. Just finished listening to Matilda from Harry Styles. Jesus. I'm going to a park now, and I'm gonna walk around a little bit to get some exercise in as well as some sunlight. So, what's so fascinating to me? I've always just had this idea that whenever I go out, I have to look pretty. I have to be put together, and of course, it's always great to be put together and feel your best. But I just took a picture of myself, and instead of trying to look pretty in it, I just did a face, and I just was like, it's nice to just exist. It's nice to just be and not worry so much, Excuse me. Hello, beautiful. Oh, the balls. So instead of going to Target, I decided to go to one of the local markets that is kind of near me and just walk around. And I filmed it. I ended up getting a crepe with Nutella and bananas and strawberries, and it was so delicious. And while I was eating it, I was sitting in the parking lot listening to music, and Matilda by Harry Styles came on, and I just started sobbing while eating my crepe. And then I have this thing, ADHD thing, I think. I listened to it about 6 times on my way to go take my walk, and then, yeah. So now I am watching Quenlin Blackwell's new video on YouTube where they went to a video game convention. I'm eating ice cream, probably going to read a little more of this book, which I am so going to be reading some parts from this because, like, for you guys and just talking about them, because Ralph Waldo Emerson, like, especially with what's going on in our society today, in America, holy shit. Oh my god. So just eye-opening. I'm also on Pinterest. This is gonna be my night. I am just relaxing, and yeah, I promised myself I'd start making more YouTube videos, and I'm holding myself to it. Holding myself accountable, so go me. Again, I don't know how to end this, so thanks for watching.